What's up, everybody? So I'm out here in like Lubbock, Texas, right? And we're out here visiting like my father-in-law and stuff. Um, so just like I have to be kind of quiet because the baby's asleep right now, but um, I had to get my Astros hat represent. You know what I mean? Got to support the Stros even when we're over here, man. Um, so I found these shirts at Walmart and God had been speaking to me because a lot of you know I'm a musician. I play music, play guitar specifically, um, R&B, metal, gen, all over the place, right? Excuse me. And so I was kind of starstruck when I felt like I had heard God telling me, Zach, I want you to go into Christian rap. And dude, I was in a metal band for 7 years, you know what I mean? I mess around with rap and I work with rappers, like being in the music industry, being in the music business. I mess with rappers. I know Paul Wall's producers. I know the recording studio he goes to. I have these guys' contacts on my phone, but we're not even in the same genre, bro. I'm just a guitarist, you know? And so I was like, man, God, I'm not no rapper, man. I mean, don't get me wrong, like Uh, I used to like back in the day when obviously I wasn't following God, wasn't following Jesus and stuff. Like we'd be chilling in the car, in the hood or something, and then like the thing we used to do was we would put on a beat, usually like some instrumental or something like that, and excuse me, the weather up here sucks, man, and we would like flow, right? So we'd be in like be in the car, probably smoking weed or something, and we put on a beat like I got five on it, still Dre or some fire beat, usually from like the 90s or early 2000s. And me and my brother, especially me and Adam, man, we sit there for hours. We used to flow, like the way they used to do like back in DJ Screw's day, the SUC. That's kind of how they did their thing, man. And I think it's just a Houston thing, to be honest. We used to be there, being stupid, just thinking that and that's really the only experience that I actually have with being a rapper, and that's just kind of a hood thing. It's really not even, you know what I mean? You're just kind of a product of your environment, I suppose. Um, so when God had asked me, I was like, nah, like nah, that's stupid. Like why would I, I mean, I don't hate Christian rap, but to me Christian rap kind of sucks, because a lot of the people that I see that are kind of fake, and I'm not going to say any names or anything, but yeah, like personally I feel like that's kind of like what I feel like, right? And so like I kept feeling this pull on my heart, like, Zach, I want you to do Christian rap. And I'm like, man, forgive me, Lord. I was like, hell no, no, man. I'm like, I'm not no rapper. I'm not a rapper, this and that. And so I was like, but I love you, Lord. I want to serve you. I want to like, I want to rock with you, all like always, I always rock with you, man. I'm always with you, Jesus, no matter what. I always, I want to proclaim your name. And so I got an offer. And like I said, I play metal music, man. I'm like a rocker, metalhead. That's like my main genre is metal. Specifically like metalcore gent, like heavy metal, like death metal, right? That's my thing. Um that's really like my main style of music. And so I got to offer a paid position to be in a band. And this band, um I mean they're heavy. It's like myself, like I said, when I was in San Antonio, I was in a metal band for like 7 years, and music just kind of died. The band broke up. You know, normal story or whatever. But um, yeah, I mean, we were pretty good, to be honest with you. We were pretty good. We were pretty solid. Um, so you got to understand from my point of view as a guitarist, as a metal guitarist, okay, as somebody that's played metal music, that's been in metal bands, that's like, the whole Gauge, culture. Yeah, I was raised in the hood, but I was always like a rocker and metalhead. Hearing God say, Zach, I want you to go into Christian rap, it caught me kind of sideways because I was like, what? Why? Why would you not, And so I kind of got I'm not gonna lie to you guys, man. I kind of got selfish, and I was like, nah, that can't be God, man. I feel like that's the devil. He's trying to like pull me back into like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like it's gonna give the wrong message of who I really am, because I want to serve Jesus, right? I want to serve God. And if people start looking at me like, this guy, this thug from the streets, they're gonna have this wrong image of me, and I don't want that. But does God want that? Like, don't get me wrong, man. I've been there, done that. Like, being in, not necessarily in the streets, but just being in the hood. You know what I mean? Just being in the hood, being around that, seeing that. Like, just seeing homies and stuff like that. It's just, you know what I mean. But that was never like me. You know what I'm saying? So, but again, raised in that culture, so I understand a lot of the stuff, like the DJ Screw, Big Mo, Pimp C, like a lot of that. Houston, and like I said, I know the producers, and I on the music side, right? But I was never in it. Like, you feel what I'm saying? Like, I was never in that genre of music, like, for real, for real. And so I said, all right, if this is really you, then I need you to show me a sign, God, because I feel like this is, with all due respect, I feel like it's stupid. I feel like it's dumb. I feel like I don't want to do this. And so like I said, no matter what happens, me and God, we always, sorry, I think my son woke up. Me and God, we always go back and forth, right? But um, I think the one thing was when I went to the store, I always want to rep Jesus, man. I always want to rep God. When I went to the store at Walmart, I saw this shirt, man, and it stood out, and it says, "A blood donor saved my life," and it has a picture of a cross, and it says Matthew like 5:35 on it, and it's talking about Jesus. So I was like, man, I gotta get that, and because I always, like I said, I want to be a walking billboard for him, and so I bought the shirt, and the next day, I was gonna wear this, one of my band shirt, like one of my metal shirts. It had like a panda with his like head cut off. It's just like a metal shirt, and it looked good. It looked good with the outfit that I was rocking. It looked good, man. It looked fly. Um, one sec. So, anyways, I look fly, right? Um, and like I said, I remember like seeing that shirt, and I was like, man, that's so deep, that's cool. And God told me, He said, wear that shirt. It's like, I just bought it, man. Like, this panda shirt goes with the outfit better. It looks cool, whatever. And He said, wear that shirt. And I thought in my head, I was like, well, maybe God's trying to test me to see my faith, right? Like, He's trying to see if I'll go out there in public and recognize Him. So I did. I said, all right. I mean, what's it gonna hurt? Even my girl was like, guys, if you can, please wait to have kids. All right, just wait, man. Do yourself a favor and just wait. So, anyways, sorry I had to leave because the baby was waking up. Check it out, man. So God tells me to wear that shirt, right? And I was like, all right, I'll rep you, man. I got your back, Jesus. You got my back. I got your back, man. And I needed to go to Walgreens. So I was like, all right, I'll go to Walgreens. You know, go to Walgreens, and as soon as I walk in, man, this guy goes, "Hey, I got that same shirt," and he's got a cross just like me, man. I had my cross necklace on. He had a cross just like me, and I was like, "Oh, okay, that's cool, man." I was like, "Well, we're not from here, and well, I mean, she is, but I'm not. I'm from Houston, blah blah." If you can tell by all my Astros gear, from the H, man, and he's like, "Okay, that's cool, that's cool." And the funny thing is, I was asking God because I play guitar at church, right? I already play, but I was asking God, I was like, man, I want to be on the other side for one Sunday, And he had told me, he's like, hey, I got this church that I go to here in town, and I'm an usher, and it's like it changed my life. I was like, all right, because I was trying to figure out what church I want to go to, like I wanted a church with like good worship while I was here. And yeah, funny enough, the guy's an usher at this church. But the funny thing is, that conversation would have never happened had I not worn that shirt. Not only that, but I knew that God wanted me to go there. And that just verified that I knew that God was talking to me because of that conversation. What are the odds, right? What are the odds that guy has the exact same shirt and we walk in at the exact same time? I mean, we could have been at the same store and missed each other, you know what I mean? So the moral of the story, right? Going back to God asking me to rap, be Christian rap, right? Like I said, growing up in the hood, being from the hood, I've been around hip hop rap my whole life, bro. Rappers, all that stuff, man. DJ Screw, uh, freaking Big Mo, Fat Pat, Paul Wall, Chamillionaire, Mike Jones, the whole Houston rap, crew, man, Swisher House, all that stuff. Uh, but I just never saw myself as being a rapper. I always saw myself as being a metal guitarist. And when I go to this church, check this out. The message is about being um or being in the sign of Jonah. And if you don't know the story of Jonah, Jonah was swallowed up by a big whale because he disobeyed God. Um God told him to do something and Jonah was like, "Man, screw that. I'm not doing that." But God asked him to do it and Jonah was like, "No, screw that. I'm not doing that." And so he gets thrown overboard and gets swallowed up by like a big fish or a whale or whatever for 3 days. And if you go and read the New Testament, Jesus talks about the sign of Jonah. And he says, you perverse and adulterous generation, you will receive no sign except the sign of Jonah. So now go back to God asking me to do Christian rap, right? I already produce music. I'm already in the mix. I do all this stuff. Like I said, I'm in the Houston scene, involved in some way, DJing, all that stuff, man. But God asking me to do that. We're going to talk about a sign of Jonah. I don't know about you, my brother, whoever's watching this, but you don't want to get swallowed up by a big whale, all right? And the sign of Jonah, man, that could mean a trip to the penitentiary, bro. For some, it could mean your car just something. You know what I mean? The sign of Jonah, man. When God asks you to do something, my boy, listen up, listen up. You better do it for real, because He gonna get His way, whether you like it or not. He's gonna get His way. It don't matter how much you try to fight it. You can go and change directions, whatever you want to do, but it ain't gonna work. You see what I'm saying? He don't operate like that, man. He's God, bro. And so when He asks you to do something, the best thing to do, I'm telling you from experience, is to do it. And you better do it quick, and you better do it right. So the main thing is actually, and I just bought a brand new 8 string, man. And I was excited about this metal band, but they're not living for God. You know what I mean? They're just like a secular band. But I wanted to get back into metal so bad because I love it. Um, God had different plans. You know, the opposite, man, of where I thought I was going. So I'm here to tell you, man, if God tells you to do something, let's say God asks you to stop messing with somebody. God asks you to stop persecuting or bullying or hurting somebody. My brother, and you don't listen, let me just tell you about the story of my boy Jonah, who got swallowed up by a whale because he also didn't listen to God. And if you want that to happen to you, be my guest. But God's going to get his way. Once he tells you something, you have two choices: obedience or forced obedience. It's the way of the world, man. But hey, much love to you guys, man. I'm Zach, signing out. God bless.